So I'm slowly but surely starting to be convinced that this whole female rapper, this era of just women taking over the airways with these crazy these Meg the Stallions, these Cardi B, these over sexualization of yourselves. This rap era is slowly coming to an end, if it's not already dead. Like no one's selling any albums, no one's buying any tickets anymore. Like even Lizzo, she sort of like slipped in. I mean, I guess you could say she's like hip hop and R&B, but even her and pop, even her stuff isn't selling anymore. She crying about it not too long ago. I got this video from, I think it's Abianca. I'll obviously post it down below in the comment section. Without further ado, let's get right into it.
Album, y'all see that it's real hard for female rappers to do top 10 right now, right?
The girl rapper wave is over.
Everybody is talking about how hip-hop is dying, but can we talk about the death of the female rapper? Because at some point it genuinely felt like the rap girls were on top. We had Cardi, Nicki, Megan, even Doja Cat, and for a hot minute it looked like female rap was finally having its biggest era. Then Ice Spice entered the chat. People started turning on Megan, saying that all she raps about is her coochie.
Yeah, but it's so good it'll have him doing ad-libs. He can't even speak. Have him doing ad-libs. Cause Cardi a freak. Pussy so good it's golden. Pussy so good it's frozen.
Doja Cat.
And that little skit is so accurate on how so many people feel and felt about Meg Thee Stallion, mainly Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B. Like they're mainly like the, I guess, the heavy hitters or the Mount Rushmore of just disgusting rap. I mean, and Sexy Red is like the president of it. I don't even know what she's on sometimes. Glorilla has a little bit more staying power because she makes like fun songs, but I don't know.
Alienated the fan base that built her. And then Cardi took 7 years to drop an album. And then Nicki, well, Nicki is still very much Nicki. And suddenly the wave that felt unstoppable started to look a lot more fragile than we actually thought. Women aren't just experiencing the same hip-hop slowdown like everyone else. They're actually experiencing something very specific, something much more structural. If this is your kind of conversation, then please do hit that subscribe button. Before we can talk about what's happening to female rap, we need to understand the environment that these women are operating in right now. Two phrases have been all over social media lately: rap fatigue and Kia's asylum. Rap fatigue is exactly what it sounds like, right? Consumers are exhausted. By 2025, people were so tired of mainstream rap that the phrase started trending. Tired of hearing the same beat with different words, tired of songs about money, body parts, and flexing that are completely interchangeable. Tired of music that was clearly engineered to go viral within 15 seconds rather than to actually say something new. And Billboard actually confirmed this.
But that's the thing, like a lot of people are getting so, it's not that they're getting tired of the genre of rap, they're getting tired of hearing the exact same thing over and over and over and over again. Like Lil Wayne has birthed so many Lils and they're all rapping about the same thing now, and then Future came along and did the exact same thing. With Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole, and Drake, even like they all have 3 different styles, but everybody else sprinkled in is pretty much the same thing over and over again.
The first time in 35 years, no hip-hop song appeared in the Hot 100's top 40. Not one. Kia's Asylum is basically a derogatory internet meme originating on Stan Twitter to describe artists whose careers have stalled or fallen off after 1 or 2 hits, implying that they are trapped in this metaphorical institution for forgotten stars. And how we got to, I guess, where we are now, you have to understand what female rap was actually built on. Because the branding of female rap didn't happen by accident, it was shaped very deliberately over the decades. And I want to be very, very honest and real about it. Female rap has never had the same infrastructure, or the same development budgets, or the same patience as, I guess, male rappers. Queen Latifah was rapping, the brand meant something: dignity, black womanhood, respect, craft, longevity, lyricism. Ladies First wasn't just a song title, it was a brand statement. It was saying, we are here, we have something to say, and you're going to listen. Female rap in that era was making a cultural argument. Then Lil Kim arrived and flipped the script. Sexuality as a power, which, mind you, is very much allowed, right? It should be a power, it should be something that you own. Body as brand strategy, explicit content on her own terms.
So okay, it depends. It depends. Because if you want to present yourself as a sexual being, you can't expect when people, or you can't be surprised when people sexualize you. You can't tell people when to turn it on and when to turn it off on how they view you. If that's what you're putting out, then that's how they're gonna view you.
Not to service anyone else. It was provocative deliberately, but there was still a point behind it. So Nicki Minaj took both of those things and combined them and turned them into a global brand. She kept female rap commercially viable almost single-handedly for close to a decade. She built the template that nearly every rapper since has been measured against, fairly or not. But what happens when your brand is built on youth, body, and shock value? All three of those things can depreciate. The market gets bored, the shock wears off, and nobody in the boardroom was thinking about what comes next. Fast forward to today, and somewhere between Queen Latifah saying ladies first and 2025, we found ourselves in a world where female rap is synonymous with rapping about the same body parts, the same tune in different words, and a song so repetitive that the consumer invented the phrase rap fatigue just to describe how they feel about it. But this was not an accident, right? It was a series of branding and label decisions, and the women are now living with the consequences by them. And it's not always their fault because, like I said, the infrastructure, the protection is not always there for female artists, particularly Black artists. So Cardi is the brand that peaked before it knew it. So Cardi B did something genuinely remarkable, right? She broke into a market that Nicki had monopolized for a decade and created space for every female rapper that followed. Labels had literally said this publicly. After Bodak Yellow, they started signing other female rappers again. And then obviously you've got City Girls, Megan, Doja, all of them either debuted or accelerated in the wave that Cardi created. That is a massive brand achievement, even if people don't consider her the best rapper out there. Really clever because yes, in some of her songs, which we know she doesn't write, there is that audaciousness in the lyricism, just like Queen Latifah. There's that sexuality like Lil Kim, but there's a likable personality and relatability, which is something that not all of the female rappers before her had. But the problem with that is,
but even with that, like Cardi's slow. I mean, she's slowly slipping. She keeps crashing out on her fans over because they're telling her common sense. Like, I don't know, maybe get divorced from your husband before having a baby with your boyfriend who also had 3 other babies in the same year as you. Maybe this guy isn't the best guy to be a part of right now. Maybe you should work it out with your husband. You did make vows, did you not? For better or for worse? That's the for worse part. Him cheating on you is the for worse part. That's just me.
is building a brand on personality, being relatable, funny, chaotic, in an entertaining way. Well, if your artistry is not the core identity, that can be really tough because when things happen in your personal life, it can basically overshadow the actual music. Or people can get so tired of your drama and your personality that they're a bit like, do you know what? This music is not even great. She has said it herself openly that she doesn't care about being lyrical. She cares about making money and charting. I'm not judging that. In this economy, feel free. But in branding, when you publicly decouple your product from craft and attach it entirely to commercial performance, you create fragility. By that I mean, the moment that the numbers dip, there's nothing left to hold the brand up. 7 years between albums definitely did not help. By the time Amaya dropped
7 years between albums. 7 years. You think you like Da Vinci or something? Like what is you think you Michelangelo? You taking all this time to give out 12 songs? At one point, Cardi said she was dropping a mixtape. I think she said every 3 months or 6 months, something like that. A full mixtape, full production and everything. Now it's just impossible for you to pump out 12 songs in a year.
Drama dropped in 2025, right as Rap Fatigue was hitting a fever pitch. The album debuted at #1, had a top 10 hit, and by most measures, that's great. But it didn't feel like dominating an industry, especially an industry that was already kind of dying. The real story here is the label's investment or lack of. So Cardi was out here selling CDs herself. And yes, this was a marketing stunt, a very clever one that she executed perfectly. It makes you wonder how supportive her label actually is when it comes to the marketing, the rollout, especially with some of the things that we've heard. She has spoken about fighting the label over her single choice, about the gap between what she wanted and what they were willing to release. And yeah, from a branding perspective, it just seems like she's unsupported. Have Meg the Stallion, the double standard in real time. Megan's brand at its peak was genuinely powerful. Hot Girl Summer was a cultural moment. WAP, the Grammy win, Sports Illustrated. She had a clear identity, aspirational but really fun and confident. And then the narrative shifted. And what took hold was all she raps about is her coochie, which, and I want to sit with this for a second, was also what people were celebrating 2 years ago. The same audience that built the brand decided the brand was now a problem.
Exactly, because we were trying to tell you that that is going to get old. If you are a one-trick pony, that one trick is going to get old. People naturally want to see growth. As people grow, they want other things to grow around them. If you're still rapping about the same thing that you were rapping about in 2019 or whenever it was, like, come on, man. If we want to hear that stuff, we have your old albums. We have the old albums. If you haven't grown since then, so I have to leave you alone, is what a lot of your fans are saying. They're giving you a chance right now to change it up. They're giving you a chance, Meg Thee Stallion. Cardi B did a little bit. Meg, you have a chance.
And that shift is really fascinating to me from both a branding and psychological perspective, because I guess it wasn't just the music that changed, but the cultural mood had changed. When a period of what I'd like to call aesthetic fatigue, right, around the hypersexual female rapper image. The market built it, consumed it, celebrated it, and now it's very, very tired of it. And the artist left holding that is Megan. The structural issue we can't ignore is male rappers have been rapping about the same topics, money, women, bodies, for 30 years. There is no equivalent cultural conversation about whether they should evolve or step aside. And yet, for female rappers, this is a big talking point. You know, it's become this full discourse about whether she deserves her career. A male rapper does something objectively worse and has a #1 album 2 weeks later.
Another big part about that, they are right that a lot of male rappers still rap about the same thing, but what they can do is tell a legit story. They're just better rappers. A lot of guys are just better rappers and better at rapping than women. And then on top of that, they can take a topic and stretch it way further. Like, if you look at Lil Wayne's career, right? Lil Wayne's pretty much been rapping about the same thing, but how he does it. Now we're more focused on the artistry of it, of how he puts these words together. How does he do this thing? Same thing with Jay-Z. They're still talking about money, cars, clothes, and girls, but they're just using it with metaphors and similes now. It's not so much in your face. Now you actually have to sit down and listen to it and decipher, oh, this is the type of car he was talking about. Oh, this is where he was talking about he was going. This is what he ate. Oh, and then he was talking about this business deal. It's still the same thing. Money, cars, money, clothes. They're just doing it in a different way. While women, on the other hand, y'all would just blatantly say it. WAP. Like, come on, man. Like, it's so on the nose. You leave nothing to the imagination. Y'all rap how y'all go out in the public. You leave nothing to the imagination.
Later. How does that make sense? Like, it just doesn't. And then there's Nicki. Nicki is the most commercially important rapper of the last 25 years. That is not a debatable position. Kept female rap alive during years when labels generally weren't interested. Here's what every long-running brand eventually has to reckon with. The positioning that built you can become the thing that limits you. The strategy that worked in 2010, total market dominance, no rivals, monopoly on the space, being this, bad B or whatever, was effective then, but audiences also evolve. The people who were 18 when Nicki broke through are in their 30s now. They want to support other women. They want to be friendly. They want to be stans of multiple artists. They have different expectations, and you have to move with the times. Beyonce has rebranded or done this multiple times. Adele is basically a part-time musician. She picks and chooses when to get involved in things. And Madonna built a whole career on adapting and being adaptable. The most powerful thing Nicki could have done is basically adapt with the times. Go quiet. Come back with something that reframes the entire narrative. Use scarcity as a strategy. But instead, what she's done is essentially just gone absolutely left. looking for a, well, right, should I say, looking for a completely different audience and doubling down on values, morals that she didn't necessarily represent back then. So I want to make clear what exactly I want you to take from this video, because it's not about picking apart individual artists, right? That is not the point. The real story here is structural. Labels sign female rappers in waves, almost always triggered by one commercial breakthrough. Cardi breaks through and every label is scrambling for the next Cardi. The market floods over, saturation sets in, and then the wave recedes. Label interest moves on and the individual women are left holding the consequences of a strategy that was never really about them. This has actually happened before, multiple times. Each wave looks different on the surface, but the incentive structure underneath is always the same. And then if you look at things economically, consumer disposable income is so much tighter, right? Attention is more fragmented. People are in TikTok getting so famous over 15-second videos. Like, streaming is now a thing. People aren't buying albums anymore. In this environment, the market consolidates around the very top. Your Beyoncé's, your Taylor Swift's, and everyone else actually gets squeezed. Middle-tier artists who in a more generous economy would have found sustainable commercial footing are now operating in a market that doesn't really have enough room for them. And finally, accountability culture. We are in an era where artists are held publicly responsible in ways previous generations weren't, and female artists, particularly Black female artists, are being held to a standard of perfection that their male counterparts are simply not. The system has always extracted value from women in rap, given them a moment, taken the commercial upside, and moved on when things get complicated. What's different now is the speed.
No, it's not that they move on when things get complicated. They move on when the wave is gone. Everybody knows that it's a wave. It's just a fad. It comes and goes. The real women that can like really rap, like the Rhapsodies, there's a few other more ladies out there, they just don't get their chance. They don't get their chance. The record label, if I was a record label, I would do the exact same thing. I would sign a bunch of, during this wave, I would sign a bunch of girls, get what I can, you know, they get their money, I get what I need, and then that's it. Once that wave dies down, then that is it. It's just a wave, like it comes and goes. History repeats itself over and over again. Ladies sit and then they complain like, well, I'm not selling because y'all aren't pushing me hard enough. They're like, we're pushing you. We are pushing you. If you're already a superstar, right? And then there aren't that many female rapping superstars. So if you're one of them, you automatically know that we're pushing you because it's only a few of you in here. If you aren't selling, it's because your fan base is tired of what you're putting out.
And the visibility. Who could actually carry female rap forward, particularly in this generation with everything going on? This is not about who has the best bars. It's not even about who's the most talented. It is who has the brand architecture to survive what's coming. And those are very different questions. Doechii is the most critically interesting name right now, right? The Grammy win was a genuine industry cosign, but, and this matters, critical acclaim and commercial longevity are two completely different things in the current market. The question for her brand is whether she can translate that critical moment into a sustainable mainstream audience, or whether she becomes the most celebrated artist that nobody actually streams. That's the actual real risk. And
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm gonna give Doechii 4, maybe 5 years max, man. I could be wrong, but if she keeps going on this path of just like berating men and like men are the enemy, and you know, just downgrading this whole feminist move, like it's not, and then plus this attitude she has, it's not gonna last long. People are gonna get sick of her. She's gonna turn into another Azalea Banks.
It requires very deliberate investment in her transition from critical darling to commercial force. Then you have Glorilla. Glorilla has something money generally can't manufacture, and that is audience connection. And she's from a certain background and she represents herself a certain way, which connects with real people, right? She's kind of doubling down on her roots and where she's from, and authenticity people are craving, particularly when honestly, not many people are authentic. But authenticity without strategic development becomes a ceiling, not a ladder. The question is whether she has a team thinking about the 5-year brand or just the next single. And that's the problem that seems to happen with some of these artists. The labels or the management will basically say, oh, this is trending, let's jump on that. Oh, just be this brand. Okay, if you're going to be that brand that's talking about sexuality and positioning yourself a certain way, that might work for 2-3 years. But are we actually prepared for if consumer appetite changes? What's going to happen in the 5th year? That seems to be the problem here. The honest answer is probably that the artist who leads female rap into its next era hasn't fully arrived yet. She's on TikTok right now, or stuck in a deal that isn't developing her, or being told her sound isn't marketable enough. And when she does emerge, the industry needs to actually be ready to build with her, not just ride the first wave and disappear when the numbers plateau. Because honestly, that pattern has to break.
Guys, I'm gonna leave it right there. Again, I'm gonna place the link for this in the description. Put your comments down below, hit that like button, hit that hype, and I will see you in another one.